Welcome back, guys. Let's talk forces, one of the fundamental concepts of physics. When you apply forces to an object, the object is influenced by those forces. When you add those forces together, the object tends to progress in the direction of the greatest force.
Alright class, let's talk power. In physics, forces act on objects, but in society, forces act on people. This is Estrella. Although this young Latina is only 5 years old, she is already experiencing many of society's forces. The forces of intelligence, cultural connection, and ingenuity. These societal forces are what we know as power. By the power of the people, societal structures can change.
Now, let's talk progress. We've been around for 100 years. The silver cup has thousands of fingerprints embedded onto its skin. Secretaries of state have broken hundreds of gavels on their podiums. Thousands upon thousands of questions have been asked in the Thought series. We have reached 1 million alumni who are members of the new United States majority. The power we started with yesterday was a pixel of today's picture. NHI is a force for us. Now ask yourself, who are you? What role did you play? And what's next?
I made up my mind that I would never, ever again just be on the sidelines. Never, ever again would I sit there and watch the parade go by of change in America without me in it.
Good morning, my name is Noor Mohammed and I'm the current head coach at NHI Fort Worth. And today we're going to be discussing how the Latino youth is making a change to incorporate other communities.
Hi, my name is Paridi Agarwal and I'm a freshman at Summit High International.
Good morning, my name is Elena Teran. I'm a sophomore also at Summit High School and I am the director of curriculum this season.
So as an Indian American and a freshman, I'm just now entering this program and I'm developing myself and my presentation, and so getting to know NHI for its program, what I get from it, what I give to NHI, and an overall introductory year. So so NHI is majorly Latino, but as an Indian American, it still accepts me. I am able to express myself fully. There's no segregation in the minor way. So I get to know the Hispanic culture and I get to see the leadership that all the upperclassmen are doing, and I get to set my own goals to get there, to be that person, to develop myself, my presentation, my character. And then as I develop myself, I give back to NHI through leadership and working with the younger freshmen when I am a sophomore or a junior and not above.
So Pretty, you mentioned that you don't identify as a student that is Latinx. Whenever you first heard about this program, because obviously you're an outstanding student at your high school, how did you personally feel like this was a program in which would accept you and in which you'd feel comfortable to want to participate in?
I think actually in the beginning, when I first learned about NHI, I did not have that much background knowledge and I wasn't able to fully accept what it was. So I was a little bit skeptical as I went in, but then as I started working with other people, getting to know them, getting to know Hispanic culture, I was able to develop myself and feel more comfortable. Even now, as a freshman and going into the great debate, I have a lot of questions which will be answered when I go to the great debate and on to coaching and directorship like you both have done.
So how do you feel, you're saying that, you come to this program and then you've had to, at first you were skeptical and now you're like learning. How do you feel that you give your 2 cents into the different conversation, and how do you feel like you're able to participate into the different topics that, we talk about here at NHI?
I think that like this Fort Worth region is like really diverse. So I think that I'm able to put my two cents in as an Indian American. So like describing how my culture is and kind of like a compare and contrast and seeing how interconnected we are with each other culturally and like personally.
And can you talk about that like interconnection and that similarities between that you have found personally as you kind of talk to the different Latinx students at Fort Worth?
So like culturally there are a bunch of similarities with like Indian culture. So like Latino culture is really like family oriented and hardworking, just like we like Indian culture. We strive to do that. We strive to do our best, and I think that I'm finding a lot of similarities with that, and like connecting with different cultures and getting that exposure from the Latino culture.
It's very interesting.
So my name is Elena Teran, and I identify as Mexican American. So basically, my father and my whole family, my whole dad's side of the family, they were born in Mexico, and they came into the United States wanting to make a change in their lives and to better not only their future, but the future of their children and the way that they're going to grow up in a different society and in a different perspective than they did. So my entire family, my dad, his brothers and sisters, they're all entrepreneurs. So that just really shows how each of them did not want to subscribe to the lifestyle and the pathway that America wanted them to follow, because many immigrants today in America feel like they're under control of America and the society that's being pushed onto them, such as working for other people and not being given the opportunity to create their own pathway and their own experience within America. So with that just shows me, growing up with that, I really got to get an understanding of leadership, entrepreneurship, and in NHI at Fort Worth, I really incorporate that into the region because as a Mexican American that is white passing, I'm able to incorporate my perspective of entrepreneurship and independence through helping not only my team and curriculum kind of generate their own ideas and put their own output in things that they want to see within the region, but also helping the freshmen as what I did with curriculum. So in curriculum, we basically create different activities that we do weekly that introduce them to different skills and ideas that are going to be introduced to them during training in NHI while they get ready for the great debate. So with that, I feel like my team and I, we were able to put together activities and experiences for these kids that gave them an opportunity to experience leadership and to experience independence and also entrepreneurship, because we did many activities where sometimes the kids had to be collaborating with other people, and with that they have to put both of their ideas together to create one common goal, one common product to sell to other people, you know? And also they were able to kind of get that first impression of what NHI is going to be for them. So with that, I was able to kind of give them the introduction to the experience that they're going to have for the rest of their high school, because as a sophomore, this is my second year of NHI, and normally your experience ends your junior year, but you can still continue to come into your region after that and put in input, guide people, and help them create their own pathway for setting on that tradition and sustaining their own region. So what was that?
And I think it's really important that you kind of touched on the fact that we're still a new region, and a lot of the things that we're doing right now is kind of setting the foundation for not just future students, but future, like the next generation of staff, the next generation of Hispanic students coming into the program, and this variety of people that we want to serve in the future. But I have a question about your role as a director of curriculum, working with all these students. Obviously, like Pretty had mentioned, the NHI at Fort Worth region is a very diverse. We have a lot of multi-ethnic students here. So can you talk a little bit about what your experience was like in working in curriculum and to develop this experience, taking in mind the variety and the wide range of students that we have?
So NHI, our region is very diverse in Fort Worth. Many people there are Mexican American or such as Indian American or any type of ethnicity that they identify themselves with. But given that I'm the only white passing Mexican American in the staff, so that kind of, it doesn't play a major role, but it does play a role in the way that my experience is and how my perspective is on the issues going on in the Latinx community and also in the Fort Worth community, in my world, in my nation as a whole. But as a leader of curriculum and working with my team, I feel like I was able to give my perspective of being a white passing Mexican American and given my background, my upbringing with entrepreneurship and independence, I was able to share some of that with my team and help them create their own ideas and how they think the pathway of the freshmen should be, because they're also all sophomores or seniors that have gone through what Pretty's going to be going through and what you have gone through. So given their experiences and their knowledge, they're able to give back to the freshmen and give back to the region. And it's a kind of a domino effect, because with my perspective, they're able to get a wider viewpoint and a large perspective on how people experience different things. And given that, we're all able to collaborate together and create that experience for the freshmen so that they can continue that for whenever they become directors or when they become head coaches of the region to sustain it.
I think that's a really important point that you hit, because obviously as a junior and having gone through not just the great debate with the LDZ, which I think really is whenever my character development just took a toll, because once, both of you have yet to experience LDZ, but that's where I feel like I experienced a lot of my character growth. And then coming back, unlike some students at NHI, that don't necessarily have regions that they come back to, I was lucky enough to, go to the Great Debate and go to the LDZ and then come back and further develop as I was challenged with my role as a head coach. And so I think in our Fort Worth region, having so many diverse students, as an Afro-Latina, it was very insightful for me, because I was challenged with not just working with the structure of NHI and working with the different departments like operations and curriculum and community development and the training portion of the program, but for me was working with the vast amount of backgrounds from these students, and not just convincing these students that this is an amazing program that you need to join, and these are the benefits that you're going to reap from, but understanding what their reality is here in Fort Worth, and explaining that this is much more than a leadership experience, and not just explaining what these opportunities are, but how it specifically pertains to them. And so I think that as a head coach, I was really targeted with working with Indian students, Asians, different sectors of Asian students, African American students, Hispanic students, and just kind of finding and connecting with these students on what their reality is, understanding that they all come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and seeing that an underlying theme in all of these students are experiencing is that in all of their communities there's a lack of leadership, a lack of representation, a lack of unity and belief in their community as a whole, that one day these older traditional generations of leaders that are not just leaders in educational, but all these people that are incorporating these different powerful positions are going to retire one day and are going to die one day, and eventually we are the next upcoming generation that are going to fill in these positions. And as a head coach, my job was very challenging, and being able to find a way that our region's mission can transcend to not just developing a good curriculum team and making sure that the students feel comfortable with sharing their opinions, or developing them in training and making sure that curriculum did its job, and now that we're getting you equipped with the topic of the year and the training things that you need in order to debate, but kind of working with all these students to kind of understand and show them that all of these students have a lack of leadership representation in their communities, and NHI is a kind of sanctuary where they're going to come and they're going to be a different version of themselves that they may not be able to be when they're with their friends or with their family. And this is an environment where they're going to thrive in, but they're also going to be challenged every day. And before I move on, Pretty, I want to ask you as a participant in the program, we as a staff have done the best of our ability to kind of cultivate this experience in you. But can you talk a little bit about the ways that you've seen yourself grow?
So my background, my family, they own businesses, but then I was early on, I was introduced to public speaking, but when I got here, I was able to develop my presentation more and become more comfortable with being challenged. And I guess the saying is become comfortable with the uncomfortable. So that's how and I think that curriculum did a really good job being able to show us the experiences and expose us to all the different type of political topics, or maybe not even political, just community topics that we may not be exposed to in school, but here we have that exposure to develop on, make positions, make our own opinions about them and express them in the best way possible through this program.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Pretty. So now, as you guys can see, that there is given student testimonials, there's just a variety of ways where different students are reaping from the benefits here at NHI. And I think that's something that's very important, is that, we're cultivating a region of students that not only are understanding and getting challenged through their character, their presentation skills, but are single-handedly understanding that they have the ability to go onto their community and vote, and encourage their parents to vote, because a lot of traditional parents don't think voting is important, or don't think that they have a say, that don't think their vote can change anything, when what you cast on the ballot can change the entire system that we're living in. And so I think that having these students understand the way that the world that we're living is working in, and understanding that although you can't make someone not discriminate or not be racist because of you can't just change who someone is, but understanding the different types of ways that our students can take these matters into their own hands. And I think that's something that matters a lot in the student activism that has been very prevalent in current society. So I don't know about you guys, but how do you guys feel that what we do here is kind of overlines a lot of different sectors for our students here?
So could you repeat that again? Sorry.
Yeah, so I know that you talked a lot about business and this entrepreneurial mindset and things like that. So and I think something that's very important is last year's topic for theme for NHI. How these schools are taking priority on business and industry rather than community social responsibilities.
Okay. So going back, tying this into what you're saying before, how the leaders that we have now are soon going to retire, and there has to be people to take in those places. A lot of people in the Hispanic community, the Asian communities, African American communities don't see people within their own communities taking those places. It's usually American people taking in those positions of leadership. And given this lack of leadership within our own community, and being in NHI and really seeing that and the tolls it takes on these communities, you really feel that need to fill in those positions, because you want to create a better experience for your generation and the generations to follow, because you don't want history to repeat itself where our communities are being oppressed and we're not given that opportunity to go out there and create our own destiny, create our own journey, and the life that we live. And so given that, NHI really ties into politics, not only in the forward community, but our whole nation, because it is promoting people of those communities that are not yet represented to represent themselves. They cannot wait on other people to take those roles for them. They must go out there and take those roles to inspire other people to continue on their legacy and take on those roles, so that we can go from being underrepresented to being a fully represented community within this nation.
And I think that, like, with that being said, you talked about a lot of like societal. You were kind of segueing into issues in our society that these students are like watching every day. And I think that one of the something that's been very common is and has been going on for years is this notion of like police brutality against African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that isn't far away from an issue that attacks Moreno and darker skin toned Latinx students that aren't, white passing or have a fair complexion on their skin. And I think that, those are still like sectors of our community that are getting attacked and discriminized and are receiving prejudice and bias from not just the police, but like other parts of, of the world where, they aren't receiving job offers or opportunities. And doors are just being closed for them. And I think that, by encouraging and showing these students that, no matter your skin tone, no matter where you come or how you were raised, the tools that you get to learn here at NHI are enriching you into coming into your own person to, not just take and I guess for our Fort Worth students, not just cultivating their community of Fort Worth, but for those that are not Hispanic to also understand that, these tools still serve them into going into their own communities and enriching both Fort Worth, NHI, and whatever community and ethnicity they might identify with. And so I guess something that I'd ask you is, before we go out, close out, is, what would you say to any other Indian students that are just like you, that are like top of their class, excelling, and are, you may see leadership potential in them? What would you say to them to kind of encourage them to join NHI?
I think that NHI has really, personally watching all the staff members, put this organization together, because this organization is pretty much completely run by students, high school students, who have a lot of other things on their plates as well. So I think that watching them organize this is what attracted me to it. And I set a goal for myself, saying, I want to do that too. And going through this program helps me develop myself in that way. So to Indian American students who are excelling in their classes, I think that if they want to challenge themselves and become comfortable with the uncomfortable, this is one of the best programs to reach it, because you might not be exposed to all those political topics at your homes or in schools, but this program nails that down. They talk about politics. Our topics are all related to socioeconomic factors in our world and in our communities that influence the way that we live and talk.
And I think that's something that actually thank you for sharing that, Pretty, because I think that that's actually something, for any Indian American students that are watching, or that you may come across, that I may come across, in our schools. I think that that's a very endearing message and a testimonial from someone from their own community. And I think that, not only just being working with each other, but as someone that is Indian, someone that identifies as an Afro-Latina, someone who is Hispanic, coming here and being exposed and appreciating all of the different cultures, and getting to work with you and learning, how you were raised, the values that are centric, not just to you, but to me and my community and the other students that come to NHI, and working less on the things that make us distinct, but appreciating those distinctions, but also working on a common goal and an appreciation of the similarities. Is very important. And I think that, for all of the Latinx students here, something that's very prevalent in society is the student activism that we're getting to see. And I think that as students of NHI that have been active in going to protests like the March for Our Lives or the women's rights movement, and just kind of going to protests and marches and movements in our communities in Fort Worth and nearby in Dallas and things like that. is how we are working to change and to incorporate other communities by letting them know that, you know, we're all students that are experiencing the same type of issues in the institutions that govern us. And when we come here, we're learning the tools and understanding what it takes for us to, you know, become better public speakers, understand how to navigate the world, understand how to make people listen to our ideas, and how to formulate our ideas for that matter. It's very important in the way that we're going to navigate society to listen to us, so that we're the ones, you know, making, or we're the ones, if we can organize a region and we can organize a curriculum and an educational goal, then we can go out and we can organize protests, we can organize movements, and then eventually, embody a lot of the positions in our society. And then, is there anything that you would say to any other students that are hesitant to join NHI, or anything that you would like to tell them as well?
Of course. So just like how Puri was saying, you need to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. You should really take this opportunity and use it to the fullest to benefit you and create the future that you want to live, because without this program, I honestly would not be the person I am today. I've gotten more confidence in myself, my speaking, and all of these are important with furthering my own career goals, my own life goals, and my goals for the community as a whole. So to the people watching that are very hesitant to join NHI, I would say completely go for it, regardless of the hesitations that you have or any of the concerns you might have, because in the end, no matter what kind of ideas you're thinking about wanting to drop, or thinking like you're not fit for this, you're not ready, you're not able to take on these roles because you don't think you're good enough, like continue going on, because at the end of this, your perspective on yourself and the entire world will change as a result.
Thank you, Elena. And I just like, once again, I think that it's important for students to know that this is a student-run like leadership, and that this is a region where they're going to get to talk and experience different cultures, and this appreciation is how they're going to network within NHI, and not just at the region, and understand that this is how they are going to use these connections to their benefit. And this is a place where not only are we coming here to appreciate cultures, but we're coming here to appreciate the distinctions and that are making us so great. So once again, thank you everybody that is watching. My name is Noor Mohammed.
My name is Preeti Agarwal.
And my name is Elena Taran.
And thank you for watching our live stream. Don't forget, if you are interested in giving back to different students, to give them the opportunity of their lifetime, to donate here to NHI at Fort Worth to cultivate and enrich more students in our area.